Alright, so for today we are doing some much needed creative thinking time. So instead of starting out with something that we know we want it to look like in the end, we're just gonna see what we come up with. So sometimes I like to do this when I need a break from other things or I need to get some new ideas. It's really pretty fun to do different type of methods. So I've shown you one before and we are going to do that again. I'll do that first and then I'm going to show you another technique. All right, let's see. So I'm just going to kind of move my hand around and make different funky shapes. I think sometimes part of the trick is not necessarily doing something like this because that can be a little bit harder to turn into something unless it's a snake or spider. So kind of loose, big shapes. But don't think about what your hand is doing, just kind of move it around on the page. And it seems like everyone kind of has their own style even with this sort of stuff. What your hand naturally wants to do. Maybe you like to do a lot of little stuff or a lot of squigglies or pointy stuff. It's up to you. All right, so here's one way of doing it. So we've got all these different weird shapes, right? And we want to, in this case, we want to kind of stick with what we have, the shape that we have. So I'm just going to do one on here for now, and then I'm going to show you the next technique before we spend some time just drawing through all of them. So also helps to kind of turn these around. Now they look like different things to me, and you might notice you see a lot of the same stuff. I think we all like different things and we tend to repeat those things. So like one of these, I see a bird, and I often see a bird in all my different shapes. So I guess I like to draw them. And it doesn't have to be anything like that. Usually I do like a combination of kind of made up creatures. See a dinosaur head this time. What else? Oh, another bird. And okay, now I'm back at the beginning. So I think for now, I'm going to use this shape in this orientation. So not turned any other way, but like this. And to me, this looks like a big kind of nose area. And like this is like a horn or hair. So let's see. And then sometimes I'll add, once I get it looking how I want, we can add some stuff. And a little goatee to match the hair. Okay, so this is my funky character that I made here for now. Later I'm going to show you how to turn that into something else if you want to. Okay, so we will come back to this page. I'm going to make characters out of all of these shapes. But let's hold off on that just a minute. Now here's another technique, and this was taught to me by another artist that I really admire, Mr. Scott Thorpe. And I learned this technique from him, and I've done it a lot and turned it into so many different things. It really just gets your brain moving in a different way. So this time, instead of doing these separate shapes, this is a way to think about this a little bit differently. So remember, you're drawing with your pencil. Don't press down too hard. I know it can be a difficult habit to break, but you want to draw light so that you can erase things. Because erasing doesn't mean that you made a mistake. Erasing is just part of the process. Okay, so ready? So I'm just gonna do my usual squiggles, but everything kind of overlaps now. I'm not trying to really make shapes. I'm just moving my hand around the page fast and try not to think about too much about what I'm making, except that I want to try to cover the whole page. Okay, I think that's good. All right, it's one big squiggly mess, right? So now, instead of having these separate shapes already done, like on the other one, what we can do here is figure out all these overlapping, things that overlap, these overlapping lines, instead of them being overlapping, we're going to figure out which parts of those lines we can connect to make different shapes. So I find this trickier. Sometimes it's harder to find a shape in there that you like. And if you're really struggling with that, you can just start drawing. So what might be easier for you, I'm gonna do it with the pencil first, but if you're ready for it, then you can just use your pen or marker. Okay, let's see, like here. I'm starting to see something here. So I'm gonna draw on this heavier now that I know that I want it, and I wanna be able to see it better too, against all the other shapes, the other lines. Okay. And so you see what we're doing here? Instead of, I said, finding the whole big outline, you can start to take some of the overlapping lines and connect them in different ways. So let's see. Now I'll go ahead and erase this stuff in here because I don't want that anymore. I don't really know how I'm going to end it right there, so I'm just going to leave that how it is for now, and we can figure that out. Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, I kind of like that too. And then I'm going to make some little changes. There, make up some new paths too. All right, so you might be looking at this like, well, what is she going to turn that into? And I don't totally know yet. I actually had the idea of making this more of like a duck bill, maybe that's like a hat. But now that I've added this in here, I think I'm seeing this shape very differently. Now I'm seeing this more as a, oh my gosh, sorry, been off camera part of that time. Okay, so I'm seeing this more as a face and an ear and everything else. So let's see, maybe this is where the neck starts. So this person, this character is wearing a turtleneck. And I think the eyes should be, because right, that kind of feels like where you're on a human face where the cheek bumps out. Those are where my eyes are gonna go, and I want this character to feel kind of sleepy. I want a nose. I don't know. I kind of like the no nose. I'm gonna add that though. And I'm not really sure. I kind of like this as like a bunny ear maybe, and maybe that kind of is too. How should we do that? Okay, I got an idea. So I'm gonna make this look like, in the perspective, like we're looking at the front of the face, this ear is close to us, and that ear is kind of like back behind. So it's flopped over. I think if I add some color to that later, that will make more sense. Okay, so that's one character. Let's move around and I'll find another one in here. Ooh, I think I see it. I think I see something here. All right, so now that we have most of that shape, and I think, well, I found a wing, right? So, so it's going to be a bird-like creature, at least. I'm gonna give this a little belly, and ooh, you know what? I really like this. I like this funky looking leg is what it's gonna be. Cool. Okay, But what is this gonna look like? Okay, I have an idea. How about kind of a bird rabbit creature? I like it. This might be a fun new character. Okay. All right, so I've got 2 good characters out of here that I'm happy with. And even if I wasn't, that's still pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more, so follow along with me, or, you know, keep working on some of your own, and then we'll jump back to the other version. Kind of an octopus type creature. What else can we make? I'm pretty good with that. Let's set this one aside. So these are the kind of ones that I have trouble with, because there's a lot of different things going on there to try to turn into something. Some people are really great at doing that, at looking at it and turning it into so many different things. So instead of just like a face, let's try it. Maybe these feel like knives. Okay, so if those are the knives, maybe our chef has like thrown them. That's what's happening. That doesn't make much sense. Okay, see what I mean? I think, well, some people are great at figuring this stuff out. I'm not always the best at it, but I am gonna try. It might teach me something new. All right, so. Okay, so this is my weird creature throwing knives. So in this case, I would get rid of these lines now. They're not really part of the character. Okay. Very weird for me. Ooh. Maybe because we have this big shape here that I'm not really sure what to do with. So some whales have baleen, which is almost like a big comb, right? It's teeth, like the teeth of the comb. There's a ton of them, and it just, they filter things through them. So instead of like, teeth like, those are some scraggly teeth, but instead of teeth like that, it's more like this. Now this might be a bit much. So the other thing to think about is it depends on what you want this character to do, right? Like if you're only ever going to draw this character once, then that's one thing. But let's say that you want to turn this whale into an animated character. Having more detail is going to make that more difficult. So for those reasons, I think Mr. Giant Whale baleen would not work very well as a recurring character. Okay, let's do this one. Ooh, that definitely looks like a dog. Sometimes I don't like to go with what it most looks like. Like maybe that's too easy. Oh, I like this. Let's do this. see if you can tell what I'm making. That turned out much different than I expected it to. That's why sometimes you just have to start drawing, just see what happens. I like to think about things too, like, okay, so I ended that in that point, right? But how does this character actually stand up? So I'm gonna make that more like a leg, so that these are two legs that it's standing on. So we've got some funky little creatures coming out of our other funky creature's hair. So instead of it being a living, like a animal or human character, I am going to make it a car. So let's take a look at everything. For me, I really like a lot of these characters, so I would definitely turn this into one. I like my squirrel, even though the squirrel is like pretty normal. I like it. This lady, she's pretty funky. I'd want to work on her some more, but I like that. The whale I don't think works, so I wouldn't redraw that one. But I'm a big fan of this lizard type of guy with a hair full of nesting animals. So that one I would like to redo. And lastly, the knife throwing guy, he could be interesting. I could turn him into something, but that's not one that I would be anxious to redraw. So, okay, that was that. And let's just take one look back at this. And I really like these ones a lot too. So this sort of octopus guy is kind of generic, but I like him. I love this one. I would like to draw this one again, more finished. And this guy is kind of funky. He's not at the top of my list, but I would make him into a character. And this sort of sock bunny thing. So overall, I feel like I got a lot of characters, right? So it's a good way to brainstorm. And if you feel like you're getting stuck, like I said, just kind of start drawing. Even if it doesn't turn out amazing at first, sometimes you just have to start and do it again and do it again. And then your brain starts to change the way it's thinking and make up some new things. So I highly encourage you to try it. I hope you have been. And I am going to take a few of these characters and turn them into finished paintings. So that will be in a separate video. I hope you come back to watch it. And I really hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I needed it. It was a good exercise. So if you like what you see, please like the video and subscribe, come back, keep viewing, and thank you for being here. See you around.